So, I don't know how many of you were watching last weekend. It was late night on a Saturday that we did this, but had a collab with Cinevere. We had some breaking news talking about the attempted assassination of President Trump and other members of the executive branch of the American government at the DC Hilton. Videos are available on the YouTube and Rumble page. Please go give those a watch if you haven't already, and also give them a like and leave a comment if you would please. So we definitely talked about that. React to some news, played some Chain Together. That was a good time. It was a good time. Hope we can do it again soon. But then the following week got some really disappointing and also somewhat enraging news that Cinevere's YouTube channel had been demonetized for the usual claim of inauthentic content. Now, there is a happy ending to all of this. Friday, Cine tweeted out that her appeal had worked and they'd been remonetized. And so there's much celebration over in Cinevere's community. And we're glad that got a happy resolution. But people are still absolutely fit to be tied over what happened to her, as well we should be. DB Wild, AI artist, contributor to Side Scrollers, of which Cinevere is frequent panelist for. At Team YouTube, kudos for putting humanized, I'm guessing, on the situation. Your AI has been running rampant, mass slapping channels for what's considered inauthentic content. Majority of those slaps are false. Humanize should be the only means by which channels are affected. Relying solely on some sort of AI algorithm to do this sort of work for you is lazy and has proven to be wholly inaccurate. Continuing to utilize such tools, letting this sort of mass demonetizing happen and stand will drive creators away, and was and is the creators that made your platform what it is. Without the creators, you are nothing. To which my response, there's suspicions out there that driving independent creators away is exactly what YouTube wants to do in favor of platforming more legacy media content. Possibly because Hollywood made them a better offer, we don't know. But what we can be certain of is that they are going to try this again. And we will have to crank up the pressure to 11 once more. Otherwise, they're just going to get away with it next time. And they've already gotten away with it with several channels that weren't so lucky. But, this is the absolute state. I think the general attitude with YouTube and Alphabet is that they don't really care about independent creators anymore. There's been talk that they want to bring more legacy media content onto the platform in an authorized way. That pays more because it's from the big Hollywood studios. They can afford to cut big checks for that sort of thing. Whereas you could gather all of the independent content creators together and most of them would never be able to agree on that sort of price. Though I suppose we could try. There's an idea. But for now, there's at least one victory out there, and that is with our dear lovely Cinevere. So let's take a look at this. This is from Cinevere, talking about how YouTube demonetized her for inauthentic content, and here's how she appealed the process. 3, 2, 1, go.
So I feel like every day, more and more people are getting demonetized for inauthentic content. Well, I'm not entirely sure I can help everybody get their channel back. I can explain the process I use when making my appeal video, and hopefully it'll help you too. For starters, I would like to say that you absolutely cannot panic. I really do understand the knee jerk reaction to crash
Helpful
out when your
tips.
livelihood is threatened, but I assure you that's not going to help in any capacity,
Yeah.
despite how therapeutic it may feel at the time.
Yeah. It might feel like a cathartic release, but um, You need to keep your head about you when everyone else is losing theirs.
I realize that this is, your livelihood we're talking about. However, you have to understand that no one likes to be yelled at the end of the day. We mock Karens on the
No.
regular when it comes to wanting to speak to the manager. So I think it makes a lot of sense to just step back and try to collect yourself before you take any steps towards fixing the problem.
No one really makes the best decisions when they're angry or when they're just very emotional. It's best to take a step back and breathe before you do anything. It'll also give you time to formulate a plan of attack, a plan of action. So this is sound advice from Arseni.
Step away from the computer, walk around your room, go outside, play a game, do anything other than immediately trying to appeal or crashing out. I do believe it will hurt your chances of restoring your channel in the long run.
Yeah, you only get so many appeals apparently, and once those are exhausted, that's it.
But I know you're not here to be lectured, and honestly, I'm not trying to lecture you.
You're
I
only
just
trying
think
to
it's a
help.
very good first step to take, and it's going to be the best advice I can give. Before I really get into the meat of this video, let me remind you that your appeal video does not have to be made right away. You do have a little bit of time to record your video and polish it into being the best and most appealing video you've ever made.
Take that time. Take that time and know that you're not going to get it done in one take. You may have to go back and do several takes and probably edit together those several takes.
Also, because I know this is probably one of the first things running through your mind, getting demonetized does not automatically mean every dollar you earn that month just disappears. From what I understand, if the money was already earned and it's considered eligible, it can still be finalized and paid out through AdSense. However, I do want to be very clear that this is not me promising you YouTube can't adjust, delay, or withhold anything,
They are an evil mega corporation after all. If they can fuck you over, they will.
especially if they claim there was invalid traffic, policy issues, or something like that.
And they will more than likely try to make that claim. They will more than likely try to make that claim. So prepare yourself accordingly.
So basically, don't immediately spiral and assume everything is gone, but also don't treat it like a guaranteed payout either. Check your AdSense, check your payment info, and keep an eye on it while you're working on your appeal. Now, before you start recording, make sure you're following the actual appeal video requirements. Your appeal should be video only, so don't put your appeal information in the description. It needs to be less than 5 minutes long,
No rambling.
unlisted, uploaded to the channel you're appealing, and submitted from your account. You also need to include the URL of your channel within the first 30 seconds of the video. I know that it might sound a little silly because obviously it's your channel, but if it's one of the requirements, do not skip it. You want to make this as
Yeah.
easy as possible for whoever ends up reviewing it. Now, I want to show you a little bit of what I said in my own appeal video, not because I think you should copy me exactly, but because I think it helps to see what this can actually sound like in practice. In my appeal, I started by clearly stating what I was appealing. I didn't make the reviewer guess, and I didn't just emotionally rant at them. I said that I was appealing the inauthentic.
Yeah, they don't care about that. They've got a business to run. They're and they probably see a lot of these appeals on a daily basis. You are nobody special to them. They really don't care who you are.
Content demonetization reason because that was the guideline category I was responding to. I am basically
Oh,
wanting to appeal the inauthentic content demonetization reason. I realize that I am a VTuber and it can be a little bit confusing for the AI. But I'm afraid I do not feel comfortable showing my face at all. So
Yeah, no, 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 no. Don't do that. That was actually going to be one of my next questions. Is like, Cindy, are you about to do a face reveal here? I'm glad she didn't. Mainly for, OPSEC and privacy reasons.
I do ask for some leniency in that regard. Um, I saw that a voiceover was sufficient, so I do hope that you keep that in mind over the judgment. After that, I walked them through a few examples of my actual stream setup.
That's what really gets me is we're treating this almost like some sort of court proceeding. It's like YouTube and Google have some sort of secret courts that you've got to work through on their systems that operate in almost an extra legal way outside of the law. And that to me just that part in particular really rubs me the wrong way.
Showed my starting soon screen, my opening video, my chat overlay, and the screen I use when I'm reacting to videos. I brought these up because I felt like they may have been part of what confused the AI. A lot of streamers use intros, overlays, animations, chat boxes, and other reoccurring assets as part of their branding. But without
Yes.
context, an automated system might mistake those things for recycled or reused content instead of understanding that they're part of a live stream layout. According to the dashboard, the reason for demonetization is inauthentic content. Going over my content today, it doesn't seem like my content falls into that particular category. The one thing I can think of are the intros and the outros for my streams. However, in the paragraph explaining what is allowed to be monetized, intros and outros for streams are allowed for monetization. And while I know I should keep this video
Yeah.
short, I am still going to include for you what the title stream, like starting stream, looks like and what the intro looks like, to kind of help you out. I'm not going to show the full thing, just a small snippet so that you can see that there is nothing there. Yes, there is AI usage. However, I do feel it is for a valid reason.
It's just AI artwork.
For example, this is my starting screen. It is a looping AI video and it has AI music to it. And then the intro in which I use is an AI video that I created.
Hi, cuties.
All of this familiar if you've watched
in which
Cinevere
I
streams.
don't believe that there is anything in here that would be considered inappropriate. My stream is rated 18 plus only.
As it should be. If you're under the age of 18, you don't need to be watching Cinevere's stream. You don't need to be watching my stream. And that's why we both mark our streams as 18 plus. Because we don't want to deal with a bunch of fucking kids. This is conversations and content for grown-ups. Simple as.
So that is that. This particular screen that I am on is what I use when I am just starting my stream and I do just the chatting.
Yeah.
I will show you that the screen on the left is for, people's chats to pop up. I'm going to trigger some fake messages so that you can see them yourself. They're right there.
Okay. Yeah. Very similar to my own setup. We've got Social Stream Ninja combining the chats, which is no longer prohibited even on Twitch. On right side of my screen, we go back to intro screen, or what I call the intro screen, what I usually go to whenever the stream officially starts. And then for starting soon, and for be right back, and also to note that the stream is ending, you have some minimally animated artwork I believe it has been AI generated. These are assets that I purchased over on Etsy and plugged them into Streamlabs. And hey presto, you've got a stream theme. I think the one thing that's different between myself and Cine is that I have stream music that is from the YouTube audio library. Also a few pieces there on the starting soon screen. A rendition of Nimrod from Elgar's Enigma Variations. I actually purchased the rights to use. So I own those rights and I can play that music. And then old recording, long since out of print, from Carmen Dragon of Rule Britannia from, I think, the 1950s. Which may trigger some copyright detections, but I don't stream on YouTube anymore. So not a big deal. Twitch knows to mute that sort of thing. And Kick and Rumble really don't care. Because they decided they don't want to be arseholes about that sort of thing. And the rest is just royalty-free music from the YouTube audio library. A lot of it jazz for summertime streams, and classical music for these particular stream themes that we use. And then I've also got a synthwave and vaporwave if I ever want to use that sort of theme. So yeah, just for the record, in case YouTube's AI decides it wants to go off its meds and flag me for something like that. Yeah, just in before all that, YouTube AI, you're full of shit, and you can go get fucked. And anybody on the appeals team, you know, in before you try to play ignorant, you blithering idiots, fix your goddamn AI. You fucking morons. This is no way to run a business. Do better.
And then on the other screen, as you can see, I have side scrollers up. The screen takes up
No, it was Thursday's
space
stream.
behind me, maybe
You're
about
keen.
80% of it, and then I have the chat window above me. That
It's
way
a
people
React
can still read
content
their
setup.
chats, and I can also highlight them as exampled here. This is why I think it's really important to look at your own channel honestly before you make your appeal. Ask yourself, what could the AI have misunderstood? Not because you
A
did something
lot.
wrong, but because sometimes you may need to explain things that would be obvious to your regular audience, but not obvious to a viewer who has never watched your channel before.
That's a good tip. But, you know, also the fact that the AI is getting this wrong with so many people. I still maintain that this is not necessarily an accident, but a coincidence. I think this is targeted censorship and harassment against right-wing and right-leaning content creators. And it needs to stop.
After I showed these examples, I explained what my content actually is. For me, my channel mostly revolves around basic streaming, like playing games and reacting to videos sent in by my own community. I wanted to make it clear that I did not believe that type of content violated the inauthentic content policy, at least
No, it
not based
doesn't.
on what was written in the guidelines, but I also didn't want to act like I magically knew everything or that there was no chance I misunderstood something. So, in my appeal, I basically said if I am wrong, I would genuinely appreciate actual guidance
Yeah,
because
pin
at
him
that
down.
point, I really did not know what action I was supposed to take to fix the issue.
Pin him down.
My content, like many streamers, revolves around playing games and reacting to videos sent to me by my own community. I do not see this as part of the content that violates paragraph, or, violates any of the terms in the paragraph for inauthentic content. If I am in error, any advice would be very much appreciated. As it
Yeah.
stands, I'm really unsure what action should be taken to resolve this issue. If I need to work on anything, I'm willing to do that, but I would need actual guidance from your team.
Yeah. Human beings are going to have to offer actual explanations and use the fucking words. Like I said, chat, pin them down. Pin them down and let's get an actual explanation of what's going on and what they really want from us.
To let me know how it is that I can change my content in order to better adhere to your guidelines. I'm willing to work with you. And I really think this part is important. You want to show that you're willing to work with YouTube, but you also need them to explain what the actual problem is, because if the issue is vague, you can't really fix it without knowing what they want changed. So instead of just saying, this is unfair, I tried to say, this is what my content is. This is why I don't believe it violates the policy. But if I am wrong, please tell me what I need to fix. The last part of my appeal was very simple. I thanked the reviewer for taking the time to look over everything, said I looked forward to hearing back from them, and that was pretty much it. And honestly, I do think that's the best way to end it. You don't need
I
to
have to,
beg, you don't need to threaten anybody, you don't need to turn the ending into this huge emotional meltdown.
because they don't care. They don't care. You want to cry and whinge and wail and put on this whole emotional performance. They don't care. They see that shit all the time. They have become numb to it. They do not give a shit. You are just another person who is creating work for them when they would rather just sit around, jack off, and play video games. And not actually do any work. They do not care. So nothing's going to be gained by doing anything, by getting emotional.
Even though I fully understand why you might want to, just keep it respectful and
Yeah.
make your point
Got to be
as easy
professional
to
about it.
understand as possible. So, to recap, don't panic, don't rush your appeal video, and please do not treat it like a rant video. Make sure you follow YouTube's requirements, explain what you're appealing, show examples from your channel, explain what you may think have confused the AI, and ask for guidance if you genuinely do not know what needs to be fixed. Again, I cannot promise this will work for everybody. I'm
For
not
a lot of people, it
YouTube, and
won't.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know exactly how every review is handled. We're all just hoping and praying that an actual person looks at the appeal and understands the context. But this is the process I used, and I hope seeing how I approached it makes this feel a little less overwhelming for you. Because I know how scary it is when something like this happens, especially when it feels like you're being punished and you don't even fully understand why. I really hope this helps. And if you're dealing with this right now, I genuinely wish you the best with your